How did Wendy Williams go from having extreme fame and fortune
It's the Wendy Williams Show
to being broken out of the spotlight within 2 years? First, we need to understand where Wendy Williams came from to understand why she is where she's at. She grew up rich, often comparing her life to the Huxtables, but her riches didn't start with her parents.
If you can't tell by my mother's demeanor, she kind of grew up royalty. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because she was a silver spoon kid?
Paris in the spring.
Oh, yeah. She had money.
This caused her mother to have a different standard for Wendy and her siblings. So although privileged, Wendy had what people in her school and her parents called a weight problem.
I would get weighed constantly by my mother and father.
One of Wendy's tricks, step on the scale, and then she would lean to one side so that the needle would move downward instead of upward.
It might have been maybe too many mashed potatoes. Wendy was bigger than the other children in her class. Wendy was overweight.
Oh, yes.
And she knew it.
Yes.
Wendy has worked on her weight all through the years. She's had problems dealing with her weight. But now, look at her. She has a beautiful figure.
Standing at 5'11" and taller than most boys in her class, she was verbally bullied, which triggered the person she would later become.
I wasn't fat. I was Zoftic. I was only fat to my parents and to these stupid boys in my stupid town where I was growing up, where, perhaps a Zoftic woman is not the ideal beauty.
Wendy then realized that her mother wanted her daughters to be the perfect image of her, which caused her to realize that her sister Wanda was the perfect image of her, and she became the Black Swan.
I had to fake confidence until I actually believed it. I was tall and I was overweight, and I was reminded of that by my siblings and my parents every single day. And so I was a bit of an outcast.
Feeling like a black swan, Wendy turned to the second thing that caused her decline: alcohol and many different drugs. Not only was she consuming alcohol straight out the bottle, she started using cannabis but would quickly upgrade to coke.
I started doing a lot of coke. I mean, not a lot at times, but, like a pile of Peru, that wasn't me. But I got high like 5 days a week. I did it for years. It was no big deal. And no big deal became a big deal.
Her uses progressed even more when she decided to cook it.
As broadcasters, we don't want bronchitis. We don't want a deviated septum. We don't want nosebleeds. So I learned how to cook it. It was as good to me as heavy beef salmon.
Her past usage was so bad that she broke down in tears 15 years later on her show when she reminisced about it.
It's been almost 15 years since I smoked last from a crack pipe. It's been almost 15 years since I waited on Jerome Avenue in the Bronx for my drugs.
Being shamed by her parents, the drugs and alcohol had no comparison with what was to come next.
Early in my radio career, there was this artist, and he had the #1 song on the R&B charts at the time. He came and did an interview on my radio show, and he asked me out for dinner. So I said, yeah. Then after that, he wanted to go change for his own party. And when we went to his hotel, he invited me to his room, and I went. And he goes in the bathroom to, do whatever he does. When he comes out, he's got like nothing on, a pair of boxers. And I'm like, okay, what's about to happen? My dumb behind, instead of just getting up and walking out, I'm like, okay, let me see how far this is going to go. I don't want to have this. I don't want to be involved with an artist. So he ended up pushing himself on me, and he did.
Being dated by an R&B singer whose name is Sherrick. I didn't feel as though it was necessary to say his name because my life is so good and he's dead.
At the time, how did you process what happened?
I went home and scrubbed my body like a lot of women do. I did not go to the hospital for a date kit because I was embarrassed to. I didn't call any girlfriends because they would say, well, what were you wearing?
After her attack, she was so numb that she just brushed it off. The same thing would happen with one of her friends that she trusted, which only fueled Wendy's drug addiction even more. Referring to it as the White Lady, Wendy took the White Lady wherever she went. This was until 1994, where she would put down one bad thing, but then pick up another. Meeting her second husband, Kevin Hunter, is when she slowly started to get off the White Lady. It wasn't until marrying years later and having a child when that started to go downhill.
I wake up like 2 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom. I just delivered him 2 months ago, and Big Kev wasn't in the bed. And then I walked into young Kev's nursery to, my baby. And I hear my husband talking greasy on the phone in one of the guest rooms. He was clearly talking to a girl. And then I lose it and jump into the room. I say, what's going on? He told me it was some girl, some bank teller he met at a bank. He's ending it and so on and so forth. And I honestly believe that. This is my husband. And we had a baby. And I don't know how to be a mother. What do I do with this? I wanted this, but what do I do now? You're not going to leave me alone.
With Kevin Hunter cheating, Wendy Williams refused to be alone, so she adapted a different mindset of a relationship.
If you told me when I was 25 years old or 30 years old that I would stay around for a cheater, I would have been like, use a lie. I definitely thought I wasn't staying around for some cheating. But I did. I don't regret it. For people who do cheat, unless you are busted, cold busted, take it to your grave. If you cheat on your wife, don't tell her. If you are busted, then confess.
Even after the news of his affair, Wendy Williams decided to stand by him.
It's some sort of weird story going around the internet regarding my husband. Now look, I'm a straight shooter, pow pow. All you gotta do is Google him and you see the story. You can believe what you want, but
she wouldn't stand for long. 1 month later, Wendy's health started to decline in front of everyone's eyes.
our first caress.
Finding out her husband Kevin Hunter not only had an affair, but bought a house for his mistress not too far from the house that he shared with Wendy Williams. This drove Wendy over the edge and caused her to start to go insane.
It was you all with the drone and took a picture. And I read about it in the blogs and the tabloids, the address of this place that he had purchased to share with this backwoods bitch, 9 miles from my house in Livingston. And they're living the high life. I went to the house, a beautiful house with a 3-car garage. I was cupping my eyes at every window. Oh, okay, not my house. But this is a good come up for a 32-year-old woman who's been involved with my husband for over 10 years. Pulled out my spray paint. And I spray painted Kevin and Wendy forever. And to this day, it still is forever. Doesn't mean I love you. Not like that. Love don't live here anymore. And I had my Gorilla Glue, which is fabulous. And I glued the mailbox closed with the Gorilla Glue. And I spray painted pink all over it. And I'm just crying and having a good old time in my own head saying, all right, Wendy, you've always been strong. Girl, this is your time. You gotta get this mess together. You got a hit show. You got a beautiful son. What do you do when you find out your marriage is about to be all the way over?
Charlamagne the God from the Breakfast Club introduced Kevin Hunter to his now mistress.
This is why I think cheating is whack, man. Look no farther than the situation with Wendy Williams, her trash-ass husband, Kelvin Hunter.
Dog here today for Wednesday, April 17th goes to the man known throughout the world as Wendy Williams' husband, soon to be Wendy Williams' ex-wife, Kelvin Hunter. His government name is Kelvin. They call him Kevin. Personally, I just thank God that I haven't had to call him in 10 plus years.
So the reason I don't even rock with Wendy and Kevin anymore is because of Sharina. Sharina was the homie. That was the homie from Columbia, South Carolina, the 803. I introduced her to Kev, back in the day. And the reason we fell out is because we was in Jamaica one time, right? And when we was all in Jamaica, it was a WBLS. When I used to work at BLS with Wendy, it was a WBLS getaway. So we're all in Jamaica. Me, Wendy, Kev, he flew his mistress out. You know what I'm saying? This was years ago. This had to be like 2008.
Kev has his mistress out there with his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Wendy aware of this?
No, not at the time. I don't think so. Not that I know of. You know what I'm saying? But long story short, she wanted to get with Wax, right? His mistress wanted to get with Wax. Later on down the line, he got mad at me because he said that I was trying to hook Wax and Sharina up. So when I say that he's a legendary sucker on some legendary sucker shit, the reason we fell out is because of his mistress.
Even with this behavior, Wendy Williams stuck to her word, in which only an STD or a baby should be able to break a relationship in a marriage. That was soon to come. After finding out that her husband's mistress was pregnant, Wendy went back to drinking so much that she had to check herself into a rehab facility.
For some time now, and even today and beyond, I have been living in a sober house. I am driven by my 24-hour sober coach.
Her relapses caused so much concern that they wanted to put her under psychiatric evaluation, which then caused her bank to freeze all her assets. This was followed by the cancellation of her talk show, leading her to do a TMZ interview that concerned all of her followers.
Okay, you don't know lymphedema? All right, I'll show you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Lymphedema is this. Do you see this right here? Look.
Okay.
No, look closely.
Right.
Hold up, please. Will, hold up. I can't hold it higher. Do you see?
Yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Okay, do you see this?
Yes.
All right, it's up and down.
And yet again was taken back to rehab. After rehab, Wendy Williams found out that her money is not in her control, leading her to call out her manager who used her money to file a petition against her.
I know for a fact that Bernie Young used my American Express card to hire an attorney to file a petition against me. That was done with my American Express card. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right.
From her parents to all the people close to her, it seems that everyone played a part in Wendy Williams' decline in health and sanity.